I don't know how long this is gonna be, but it's gonna be a good minute because I made a lot of recall, but I never posted them. I don't know why, but I just did it. Part of it is, I think, part of it is religion and how with probably women shouldn't take the Bible serious. Yeah, yeah, women shouldn't take the Bible serious because men are the people who wrote the Bible, right? And there's parts like the Bible in itself is just like really weird because it's like it's handpicked, and some of it they just didn't put in because it's super natural, like super out there, and some is probably is jealousy, which could be towards women, and I just think there's a lot of things wrong with the Bible in a sense that people picked and choose what they wanted in and out of it. Like for instance, the whole like the way I learned about the marriage thing and how marriage became a thing was for I think the History Channel, and they were doing like parts of the Bible or something like that, the banned things from Bible or whatever, and basically Jesus was sleeping around with a bunch of men's women, and because they were like not happy about that, they decided to make a thing with marriages so that Jesus was off limits from these people's women from going at them, and so in that sense, marriage was to control insecurities and stuff like that. Because essentially, if you're like if you're secure in yourself, whatever. Obviously, if it's Jesus, you're gonna lose. But if you're secure in yourself like that, you don't need whatever, blah blah blah. You don't need to be calm. But because that whatever. That's the reason why the marriage became a thing, because they said that Jesus was sleeping around with a lot of the chicks, and they weren't happy about that, and they did that, and then you could look at it as control and insecurity and whatever. Yeah, that's how you could look at it. Also, a lot of the people weren't too fond of. Because I guess Jesus had a lot of women around him, not like we call, but like to advise him, and they didn't like that. I think Mary, I forgot that. I think it's Mary. I think because I think that's why they called her a whore, because I think it's just to slander her, but because I think Jesus listened to her a lot, and because of that, they were jealous of her, so they would call her a whore. But that's the other thing, that Jesus not only to listen to the women, he listened to the women, and they weren't happy. They didn't like that, so that's why. As a woman, you probably shouldn't really take the Bible serious, because it's more or less of a man who wrote that, and they weren't being favorable in how they portrayed women in that whole thing. That's going to cover that, but also there was the babies and how God didn't give a the idea that I guess I forget, because this guy I watch, he's a person who studies the Bible in all the languages. So I guess the thing is like the one thing he brings up is because if you are aware of the we call like the different languages, there's different meaning in how that you could portray it, and how you could not portray it, but how you could interpret it. Like Satan wasn't like the devil. It was I think Satan, demon. I forgot what. I think it's Satan though, or demon. Satan is like uh, like the Baptist. Well, even like the Baptist, like John the Baptist is like, it wasn't like his like, it was like John the Baptist. It was because he was a Baptist, but it was just Baptist, like a name, like a. I don't know. It's like when you if Satan was like a liar, the name, if you were blah 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 Satan, or they reference you as like a carnal or like a pastor, you're Satan, so you're a liar or whatever the case would be. So even though Satan is, we interpret it as a demon, it's actually in the Bible it meant that, but the people interpret it the wrong way to the devil and stuff like that, or switched it to that, to the devil being Satan, and it be interchangeable, and so that's so yeah. So if you knew, so this guy's like deep. He knows all this. He knows, he's like a professor of that, whatever you want to call those people. And basically, he goes talks about how, oh, because there's a lot of things he talks about, like how, I forgot what there was a thing that they were just, oh, because I think they were killing babies. I think God or Jesus were saying, hey, cool, as long you could go and knock those baby out, as long as it's not the Jerusalem baby, Israelite babies or something like that. If you, as long as you don't touch them, we're cool. But if you decide to crack babies' heads on a rock, I'm cool. As long as it's not these babies. If you hit those babies, then we have a problem. So God, Jesus, I forgot who he said it was, but they didn't have no fucking problem with taking out babies. And I think I forgot what it was, but it was a really bad thing. It was a bad thing, and they said, "Wow!" I forgot what it was. It was a bad thing, and they were wondering why you couldn't change it to make it better, and they said that oh, it was the baby thing. I think, yeah, it was the baby thing. Is it something about why can you do something to make it better? Oh, it was okay. So they didn't care. So I think it was a story about God saying sacrifice your baby for him or something like that. And see, that's what the problem. Women shouldn't trust the Bible because they don't. Men didn't fuck with women. They were bullshitting women. They were, so if you, this is not some fucking recall, but if you're a woman, no, you shouldn't. you shouldn't. You should listen to the Bible. I think because there's men and they were jealous and they put a lot of bad things on women for insecurities. But as I said, one reason why women shouldn't, and also God, because people think God or Jesus would not. This one was from God, but they're saying people think God was like cool, like don't touch babies, they're precious, think whatever. No, God said sacrifice them, and you sacrifice them, boom, you are whatever the case was it for that person, and the problem with that was because there was a lot of contradictions in the Bible pertaining to that story, because they're saying that that when God told him to do that, to kill their baby, I was saying, it was like, just kidding, don't kill the baby. And they're like, that was a because in the Bible they were like, you kill the baby no matter what, and the people who wrote the Bible were like, God was just kidding, don't kill the baby. But because of the contradiction of these other people saying you kill the baby no matter what, because it will take longer to change the rules than the earth and sun burning out. So it would, to change those rules, the earth and sun will burn out. So it's more better just to go with it instead of trying to change it, because once you change it, everybody's dead already. The planet's gone, the sun's gone, boom, the solar system's out. So the idea that we call, there's a lot of problems with the Bible where they try to make a perfect God, they try to make a nice God, they try to make a lot of things, they try to bash women, they try to do a lot of things to make this ideal thing. There's good in the Bible, like, all the good things that they have, but also there's a lot of things that are really not they're like just lies, and it's that's the issue with that. Okay, so that's what I think. That's it I want to talk about. I think there might be some stuff coming, but I don't know, because there's a lot of things I didn't. There was a lot of things I talked about, but I didn't post. Okay. I would say this thing because it was kind of crazy. I was at my class in Muay Thai, and my partner. He was speaking Spanish. No, he I don't know what he did. He was like saying if I spoke Spanish, like no, and he was just like none, like none, because I'm Mexican. He's like, none, I don't speak Spanish at all. I mean, I know Banos, there's this restroom, because I'm a porter, so you're gonna have a sign that says restroom and Banos. So I work the restroom, so that's why I know Banos a lot. Poquito, little, buenos noches, ¿cómo estás? Muy trabajando. I think that's because like very hard work or something like that, And I don't know some of the bad words. Boto, dinero. That's money. There's a lot. I mean, that's as far as I know, but that I know right now. Like uno, dos, tres. Like, I think that's as much as I know. Puto, huevo, rojo, blanca, negro, plancha, so that's as much as I know. So he's like, you don't know Spanish, whatever. He's going like that. Then he started speaking. He's like, okay, I'm gonna say something to you, right? He started speaking in Spanish. He could be fucking with me. He could have been lying to me and fucking with me, and just maybe fucking sound crazy, but he's like speaking to me in Spanish. He's like, okay, he tells me, he's speaking in Spanish, and I'm looking at him, and I'm listening to him, and as I'm listening to him, I don't know what was going on in my head. I'm not sure if he was speaking Spanish at some point, or something in my head, but there was like, when he was speaking, it felt like another voice was over it, like translating over the Wicca to English. So I was able to when I'm trying to really focus on what he was saying, then that's when it was like I kind of started hearing voices of what he was saying in English, and it was starting to like in my head, his words were starting to like formulate into English. Not only like the voice, like this voice over it, kind of like recall. As I'm saying, he could be fucking with me. He could have been speaking Spanish at some point that I didn't even notice because I was so focused on him. But he said something like, because I told him I told him he sounded like a man, his voice sounded deeper when he spoke Spanish. And then he's like, then that's when he said that because he speaks, I forgot what he said, but he said he speaks Spanish, he speaks deeper in that voice because if he doesn't, he's gonna sound like he's American. Obviously, I got American, but he was like saying that, like, and when he said, when he told me, what did I say? And I said, you said what I just said? And he said, yeah. I'm like, no fuck! I screamed out, no fucking way! Because I was freaking out because I'm not sure if he was speaking. I'm not like because I'm so focused on him, and I'm not sure if he was speaking Spanglish at some point. But it was. I don't know if he was speaking Spanglish at some point because I was so focused on him, or at the same time as I was focused on him, I started to hear voices over what he was saying, and it was starting to overlay where it kind of started to make, like, I was able to understand what he was saying, and it was translated into English, which was weird. And he could be fucking with me. And lying, and just said that just to mess with me. But when he did that, I kind of like. It was weird because when he was doing that and I was listening, it was a weird thing because I was starting to hear those voice of the Spanish words he was saying in English, and I'm like, is this really happening? In my head, like, is this like really happening where I'm able, like, these words are actually coming in English? And when he said that, exactly what I said, I was like, oh my fucking god, that's just. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if he's fucking with me or if he spoke Spanglish along the way, but that was weird, and kind of hoping he was speaking Spanglish, and I was just focused on him too much to notice that he just threw some English words instead of American, and he was just throwing some English along the way. Kind of hoping for that, but if it's the other way around where I was able to, when I focus on and actually in my brain hear those voices turn Spanish to English, I think that's just fucking. I think naturally, I don't think that. I don't think that. It just feels weird if that was the case, and it feels like I might be going crazy if that's the case. If he actually spoke Spanish and I was focused on him and really like paid attention on recall, that inside my head a voice was putting English words to those Spanish words, and I was hearing that voice going over those Spanish words, and it was kind of weird. I freaked out when he told me that what I said was correct. But that was weird, and I don't know. Yeah, I think that I'm okay if he was speaking Spanish. I was too focused on him that I didn't notice he spoke Spanish along the way. But if he's all fucking Spanish and he did that, and all these voices were like just putting fucking English to the Spanish words, I think that bothers me more than that. Bothers me than just not really focusing too much and not really paying attention to what he was saying, but paying attention to what he's saying, you know? So that one was a weird instance that I was like, I'm kind of scared with that. That one was kind of freaky. I don't know. That one was kind of freaky. Okay, that one was. That's one I just want to bring up because that one was like supernatural. Which I think it's gonna go to. It's gonna go to sleep paralysis, remote viewing. What else? out of body experience. So I'm going. The only time I had one, I think I had one out of body experience. Right. It was when I was a kid. There was like my cousin was in the car with my sister. They were about to park the car inside to the little trailer like parking spot we had, like just trailer home we had. Then there's like this little, we call open space we could park. I was on the side jumping on where the rocks were at, and he's like, going ready to drive in, and for some reason when he hit the bump, he just went straight towards me, and he put me under the car. So I'm under the car, he hits the house, and I pull myself out. I'm crying, going to the house. My mom right there, comforting me like, what happened, whatever. And that's what I think happened. But that's when she was comforting me, I all of a sudden saw an overview of the whole situation of me and my mom, and I think somebody was on this other couch, but I was right there. I had an overview. Out of body experience, an overview of that. And I think at some point I told them that I experienced that. I think I told my dad that. I'm not sure, but I think that's the only time I'm aware of that. And so that's one that I know. So this is going to sleep paralysis. Okay, so you have, because I had sleep paralysis a lot, and I don't have it as bad as I did. Like there's points where I had it so bad, it was like I would. Because it's like you're stuck and stuff like that. So sometimes what I would do when I'm in sleep paralysis and I try to break from it, I hold my breath until I'm like ready to pass out, and then that's when I break out of sleep paralysis. And sometimes it happens so often, and because I hear people say the things like, oh, if you sleep paralysis you have hallucinations and stuff like that, and you will see stuff like that, and they say like there's a whole myth of the succubus sitting on your chest, or some monster sitting on your chest, or whatever the case, whatever the super or not medical or whatever superstition or whatever is part of that sleep paralysis. I didn't have that. I don't ever. From my experience, I didn't have that. I just remember when I kept hearing that, I would when I did have sleep paralysis, and I lived in this apartment where there was glass mirrors for the closet, and because I had the sleep paralysis, because you have sleep paralysis, you could look around, but you're just stuck. And I just remember I said, "Fuck!" I just remember looking at the mirror to see if I see any supernatural, like some succubus or whatever, army or whatever, and nothing. I just remember looking, and I'm trying, break out of it, and I just see nothing. So I was like, okay, so that disproves it for me. With that, I think you have sleep paralysis. I think the panic might be the one that causes that, but I just think people who have that is either really experienced that supernatural thing or are panicked. Essentially that, what they say in hallucination. Either way, I don't get that. I never got that. And this is going to go back to, I'm going to go be quick on that because there's dreams I had since May. No, I had sleep paralysis like in early May, and I think it stopped in early June. Throughout May and June, these sleep paralysis were like wild, like really wild. Not like, oh, no, it was fucking crazy. Yeah, I think June 11 was my sleep paralysis, the last sleep paralysis, and May 14, I think, because it talks about remote viewing, sleep paralysis dreams. But I'm gonna be quick. Because I already have like 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes of that. But sometimes I think there's one where I made the assumption that maybe I'm having seizures in my dreams. But watch. So dreams in general, they talk about how it could be therapeutic, and that the mind is trying to see through the situations that you went throughout the day. So it's therapeutic. So it's like if you had something bad, it's like, okay, we're gonna go through it, and you're gonna just either experience it, or find a situation where you could resolve that, or let it go through so you can see what happens and not be scared. Or so it's like so some people say it's therapeutic. Some say it's just the brain. The brain doesn't sleep. It just slows down. So guess what? It's still going to be active. While your body shuts down, your brain is still active. Just like your whole body. Your body's still active no matter what. Even though you're asleep, your body's active. Okay. I'm going to pause because this is about to be 30 minutes. Okay. Okay, so as I said, dreams could be therapeutic, or the brain itself being active. And I think, okay, so that's one thing, right? I think because of I remember watching this guy who I'm gonna speak about, because he brought some things up that I want to speak about later, which is maybe we are the problem, as in everybody who is artistic or just have an idea about things and puts out in the ether. No, not the ether. Ether is like emptiness. Either way, puts it out in the ethos. I think it's the ethos I was trying to say. Yeah, ethos. Yeah, the ethos. Putting out we're just putting it out there into the world. We could be the problem, as in we are creating stories to this, just like the Bible. It'd be the same thing as the alien thing. We're just throwing shit out in the air, and guess what? We're muddying the waters. But this guy, I forgot what I was going to talk about him. I brought him up? Oh, because he talked about. See, also when he mentions the things he mentioned, the thing I'm going to talk about, it kind of contradicts itself. But he talked about how I think the FBI or CIA. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure if FBI CIA was that. I think it could be government project that it's undercover until it was revealed. I think it might be Stargate, or it could just be some random guy from the recall. But they essentially told him to go look at the moon, and when to remote view the moon, and he did that and all that stuff, and then he went to this part in the backside of the moon. He's looking through the glass window, looking at these aliens, and I think humans working on some stuff, and they turn at him, and then they're like, action go away or something bad happened, or but he said when that happened, it was like he freaked out because they noticed him. Okay, so I had a dream. 2017, no, it could be from 2017 to 2020 or a recall. But as I said, I already got I had a podcast of that. I did an episode of that of my dream, but it basically was of this guy. So if you want, I did that one. So he kind of, I don't know if it explains better because I don't know, whatever. But basically, I had a dream of these people, whatever, that talk blah 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 blah, and I was saying these two people were talking, and this this dude who had like this whole Indian vibe thing. The best way I could describe them, they look like Futurama, the show Futurama cartoon, and there's people from Mars, and there's like these gray people, like these gray. I think they're like, I forgot what they were, but they were like gray people. He kind of looked like that. And I just remember I was dreaming, because if you're in a dream, you're dreaming. You're not aware of your dream until you wake up, or until something breaks it from you realizing you're in a dream, right? You know, the Jim was dreaming, and I was experiencing a dream, and then all of a sudden that shaman dude notices me, and then that's when the illusion breaks, where now it felt like I was invading on a moment in recall, and it was I forgot how it went, but I think he was like, why are you here? Who are you, or something like that? But because he started to focus on me, and that's when the illusion breaks, where I'm like, I don't know how to explain it, because it was like I'm dreaming, and then all of a sudden this thing notices me, and then it's like what the fuck just happened? Like how? Like I'm now does I realize I'm in a dream, but it feels like now we are existing in the same place, but not only that, I'm intruding on a moment, and then now it's like, oh shit. Then that's when I woke up, and I just remember how like that was the most crazy dream I had, not because what it was about, but it was because of that instance where I no longer was. I know. It's like this illusion that I was dreaming, but in reality, I probably was in a moment in some part of the world or wherever, or past, present, and this thing noticed that and said, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And then I'm like, "Oh shit, this is no longer a dream." And then that's when I was like pulled from that instance, and I'm like, that part was crazy. So when he brought that up, it was the same thing where I'm like, that's what I had. So maybe also dreams could be remote viewing. Not only remote viewing, just your soul's venturing out in the world, and goes into certain places that shouldn't be and exist in recall, you know. So right. So that's a dot right there, right? So remote viewing, out of body experience. I think the other one, the other thing is the same thing. I'm gonna go to the gym, but I'm gonna be very quick with them. Sleep paralysis. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this one quick, but I'm going to the one that explains the rubber band thing. I was sleep paralysis. And because you're sleep paralysis, you can open your eyes and you can see your surface, and then as I'm about the rubber band, that might be sleep paralysis. No, the rubber band, that might be out of body experience. But I sleep paralysis. Boom. My eyes are open, and I'm seeing my place as it is, not like as a dream. So it's as is. So what I'm seeing is real. Because if you, as I said, if you have sleep paralysis, you get fooled by a dream and your recall. The dream fools you that you're awake, but when you're up in the sleep paralysis, when your eyes up, you're aware. It just when you're up like that, and you're trying to break it, and then you finally give up, and then you go to your sleep, and you're still in sleep paralysis, but you're trying to break out of it, and you get the river effect, and there's difference to it, right? Okay, so I'm sleeping, sleep paralysis room. I open my eyes. I'm seeing my room. And I just remember in my head saying, he's waking up, he's waking up, he's waking up. And not only that, on my eyes, like when I'm seeing, it also seemed like if there was like a cardboard in front of my eyes, and above it I could see like whatever's behind the background. So I'm hearing that while I'm looking at that. I'm like, that's weird. I'm trying to look over that, and I'm hearing, he's waking up, he's waking up. Fell asleep, boom, fine. That's where it could be. This is the therapeutic rubber band, and this is where I think I was having seizures. No, not. I think there's a chance I felt like I'm having seizures, or this is the idea where seizures starting to come to. Maybe I'm having seizures. Okay, so like I think this is May. I just remember a hallway, a dark white hallway. I'm coming from the darkness. There's a gray alien in the white. He's walking towards me. I'm walking towards him, and there's this animosity towards this alien. The animosity is coming from because I felt like he was abducting me a lot, and I didn't like that he was abducting me. So I'm walking past him with animosity. I want to hit his ass so bad, right? And I just walked past him, and I think I bumped him. I forgot how it went. I think I bumped him or whatever, and or something, and he shocked me because he's not, my intent was to hurt him, and I felt this shock in my body, like this, like that, and I guess he didn't. I tried to apologize to him, and every time I tried to apologize to him to get closer, he knew my intent was still fuck him. And he shocked me again. So I was like, every time I tried to apologize, even though the apology wasn't sincere, it was to get close to him, to fuck him up. He zapped me, right? And so it was this animosity towards this alien, and I bumped into him, and he knew my anger was filled with rage, and I wanted to fuck him up and stuff like that. So he zapped me. So I guess the whole thing was therapeutic. It like, oh, this is bad. You should probably work on that. Your recall, right? I woke up, went back to sleep at some point later in the day, and this gym is different. This gym is now real life. And instead of being an alien, just like I'm out on the week, I just remember going to the family's house, and then I was like, I don't like this person, and I just remember beating the shit out of this person. And then I go home, and I just remember when I get home, my place is nice. It's rich, I'm rich and I have a lot of nice things. And I'm there crying, so I fucked it up because I let my anger get the best of me. And to me, that felt like either the aliens telling me, or this the therapeutic one, or the aliens telling me this is an issue that might fuck with you later on the road, so you need to fix that. And then but then he's like, this is not working. Me being an alien and me zapping you is not working. So we're gonna do it this way, where you might have it's better, more consumable for you to see in that light instead of the science fiction light. And so I think that might have been like that, or it could have been therapeutic. Either way. So that's why I like thinking in July. Here's the thing. At my work, I'm not saying I did anything, but I'm just saying sometimes people do some shit, and I can like it, and I will get in their face about it. And there was 2 instances that I did that, and it wouldn't be wise if I could have gotten in real big trouble if the guests went to go tell Rico what I did to them, what I was doing to them. So in that sense, that's why so those 2 days when that happened, I just remember I gotta do something about it. Then I went to Muay Thai. Then that's when I went to the Muay Thai class. I'm like, I gotta do it. I remember my coach is like, what you? It's like, so we'll get you. So why you want to get into recall? And I just said, health, and I said in my aggression, to control my aggression. And my aggression, it's I don't think it's rage. I think now it's more because there's like so I think now it's more or less about being mad at myself for not being better at not only towards myself but how I do things outside and how I need to be braver on certain things. And but because I'm such a coward in that instance, so anyway, so in that sense, when that dream happened, then all of a sudden this thing proceeded after. I was like, okay, I gotta do something, and that's when I started doing Muay Thai in July. Right now, here's a crazy one, right? Because I told you about the alien shocking me because when I hit him, boom, got shocked. The crazy one is I'm driving. I'm in the grocery store. I come out of the grocery store. I'm in my car. As I said, I did a podcast of all these dreams, but I think this is where I'm going to come to now, where the sleep paralysis could be out of body experiences, which I've experienced some, but I think it could be, this could be the minor version of it that some people experience. But the reason for sleep paralysis is there is a reason for it, and I'm not saying what I'm saying is the case, but it's falling asleep or sparking up because of the brain. In this paralyzed state, factors that can trigger it include stress, lack of sleep, and certain mental health conditions. Right. So there's a reason for it. I just think these dreams are not that, because as I mentioned, I had dreams before. I had sleep paralysis before, where none of this happened. And in May and in June, at the earliest of June 11th, I had sleep paralysis, and these sleep paralysis were weird. They were weird. It was just some odd thing, and so I was okay. So I was in the grocery. I was coming back. I came in my car. I'm ready to back out. I didn't back out fully because there was so much space. I just backed out halfway, and then I tried to turn in. But as I turned in, I hit a bunch of cars, and I'm hitting a bunch of cars in the back. And some lady was right there. She spots it. I'm not sure if she spots it or she dropped her bags or whatever. But I just remember her face being open, just in shock. And I just remember driving the other way and driving down the lane, other lane, and then all of a sudden I see her speaking to a security guard, pointing at my car, and I gotta stop. I gotta tell him I gotta stop. I stopped the car. I went up to them and I said, "Don't worry, it's a dream." And when I did that, I woke up from the dream. I'm in sleep paralysis. My mouth and the top of my head was feeling static, like if I was getting shocked, right? So, right, and I'm trying to apologize to this thing, because when as soon as I woke up, that's what I felt, and then there's a voice in my head said, I'm not sure if it said it or if I felt it, but it says, "Why the fuck did you do that?" Not those exact words. It could have been those exact words. It could have been something and that kind of wording, but it was not like a paraphrase. Maybe I'm paraphrasing what he said, but essentially what he said is, "What the fuck did you do that? Why did you say that?" And I'm getting shocked. I'm trying to apologize for doing whatever I did, and I'm getting shocked, and I'm hearing a voice just mumbling, and I'm trying to listen in to the mumbling. I couldn't really listen in, but I'm trying my best to listen in and stuff like that. And the reason why I'm saying this is the other thing how you could know you're in sleep paralysis and in a dream. When that was happening, because I'm sleeping in the dark, but in my room there's like a light. See, I might be mixing up the stories. It might be something else. It might be another recall. But even at that, I could tell the difference between the when you're awake and sleep paralysis and when you're not. I'm looking at the ceiling and I just remember it's dark, but in my living room the light's coming through. So there's like a little faint of light coming through the room, even though it's dark. So I'm able to see that, right? At some point, I fall back to sleep. And, this thing was getting pissed, so every time I try to apologize or whatever, it cranked up. So that static thing from top of the head to the mouth got worse when, I guess, at some point, as I continued to try to apologize and he was getting annoyed or whatever, it got worse. Then at some point I fell asleep, right? Then because you're like, sometimes when you're like, you're fighting it, you're confused if you're, like, how you don't know when you go to sleep, it's like that. You don't know when you trip into the sleep paralysis, slip back into your dream until you're in it. So when I was wide awake, eyes open, sleep paralysis, I see that. The ceiling, the room being dark, but also the light coming out. That's how it was. Now this is me going to the dream, and that's how I know I was in a dream. Is basically I'm getting out of the bed and going to the living room to turn on lights. And every time I try to turn on lights, or when I did turn on lights, there was no lights, and I rubber band back to the bed. And this kept happening. This keeps happening until you finally wake up from the sleep paralysis, or you just let it be until you finally give into your sleep, and then whatever, right? So that's how I knew that's a dream, and that's how I know when I'm awake. Because in my dream, the light was off when it should be on. And I shouldn't be going for the light because the light was already on. And that's how I knew I was in my dream. And I think right there, maybe that could be out of body experience. Sleep paralysis might how you say, could be like a little light, like a flicker, like for the lighter. Once you flick it, you're igniting the lighter to catch the flame. I think the sleep paralysis could be that, a little flicker. You're not in the out of body experience, but you're flicking it to possibly ignite it, and you could get out of the body, stuff like that. And I don't know why I brought that up, because I know I was watching this thing and it talked about that, and I was like, I think maybe sleep paralysis is something like that. It's a starting point to that, because I have so many. Yeah, I think sleep paralysis could be that too. Obviously the real issues, the causes for sleep paralysis is the lack of sleep, stress, and I guess certain mental health conditions. But I think sleep paralysis could be also your soul leaving your body, and because you're not really fully conscious of what you're doing, that it's ripping you back. Instead of letting, it's like if you are aware how to say, if you're a person who could do that, to be out of body, you won't be able to. You will be able to go as you please, because you understand this is you're free to roam freely, instead of thinking you're awake and you're trying to break from the sleep, and then your soul's like, oh, why am I keep coming back when I'm trying to break from this? Oh, because this person still thinks he's sleeping, and he's just trying to get out of, and when he's trying to do something and it doesn't interact to the real world, he realizes this is a dream, and I'm gonna bring back to my body instead of like, oh, obviously this is a dream. No, obviously this is me out of my body and I'm exploring the recall, but whatever, right? So I think that could be a thing. Also, I think I don't know, but also I don't know about that alien shit, dude. I don't know. May was fucking crazy. I don't know what fucking happened in May, but May and June were the scariest fucking dreams, dude. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Sometimes I'm thinking like, twice I heard voices, like one saying he's waking up in my sleep paralysis, and there's the other voice that got mad at me because I for some reason in my dream I said I wake up to them and I'm like, don't worry, it's a dream, and then all of a sudden this voice was so pissed that I told him that not only that I'm confused that even happened, not only that this person did that, and not, you know, it's like that's fucking crazy, and this thing's fucking pissed, and all that I'm not sure if I'm having seizures in my sleep because I'm getting electrocuted, like I'm getting like this recall in my head, my mouth, and then the other sense I think my body was getting recall, and then it's like I don't know what's going on in that instance. I don't know what's happening. And also, as I said, there's a dream I had about. There's one dream I had about. This is one because this is a book I want to make, like a short story I want to make. Is this dream? But it's crazy because this dream also is a FBI red flag, which they said in 2027 there's going to be alien invasion, but I didn't know this until recently, but because but then again I could have known it because I watched a lot of alien stuff and I just never grasped my mind never grasped it. But I basically had a dream about China and these soldiers going inside the bunkers. They grabbed the Chinese scientists and there's like, hey, mark the bunker that's has the nuclear bombs. He's like right there, and then he's like, you guys shouldn't be worried about this one. You should be worried about this bunker. This bunker gives the coordinates to the Earth, and the military like don't fucking care, but we're gonna check out anyways, and they did. No, I think they did. I don't know, but either way, the scientist said piggies will fly, and I remember watching the news on September. I think it was September. I forgot how many days. I think it was 5 months out before the bombing. 5 months before December, because he said December 2027. The scientist says it's when it's. I guess the news said that's when they're gonna come. December 27, when China's gonna nuke United States, and they said the scientist says piggies will fly. And I think it was 5 months out, 3 months out, or whatever. And I just remember getting depressed because December was coming up. And at some point I woke up, and then I thought about it. I'm like, piggies will fly, thinking, oh, they're gonna nuke us and we're gonna all die, and you know, American pigs. So I guess a little play on words. Piggies will fly. I guess Americans will fly, as in angels, were little fat piggies flying. That's how I interpret it until I really thought about it. When I really thought about it, I thought about piggies will fly, which is that saying, when pigs fly. So something unbelievable will happen is when pigs will fly. Then that's when it came to my mind. The coordinates to Earth, alien invasion, 2027 December. That's what's gonna happen. And I just remember going on social media and like the first, like after I scrolled and I saw that 2027 there's gonna be an alien invasion. So I'm like, you know, I don't know. I didn't sleep paralysis, but also think it's weird with the dreams and stuff like that. I don't know. And okay, so this is gonna be about transcendence and also the guy I watched. Okay, so he's saying, so this guy, what is his name? I saw him twice, one early on and then the other time, this recent one. Yeah, it was scary. Okay, Because his is crazy. Because the shit he said was crazy. Is Jason Giorgiani he was on American Alchemy. Basically, he's just saying that the moon could be like a little space, like a little place where our souls are constantly recycled into Earth, so we can escape. We can escape Earth into like different planets because our souls are being sucked into moon and being spit back and stuff like that. And basically, Earth is the prison, and we're entrapped. Our souls are entrapped in this place and stuff like that. Right. So that's the idea, which breaks the idea because I think if you're able to remote view outside of Earth, which there's like FBI, CIA remote viewed outside. They told somebody to remote view outside Earth to Mars. So there's like the contradiction in his story. But here's the thing. Where I'm going to say, but I think we are probably the problem of creating the Lord in the Wicca. So instead of like maybe like how with the Bible, the truth is probably far off than what you read in the Bible. The truth might be far off and probably very wrong to what you read now. And I think that's what's happening with the alien thing. I think us, people who have an idea, who have stories and stuff like that, is trying to create the truth far from what's really happening. And so he's talking about that, and he's talking about how the Greys are able. Damn. I don't know where I stopped at. Holy shit. Okay. Shit. Okay, I'm just gonna start off with Mars. This guy I watched, Jason Giorgiani. He's Simon everyone, Jesse Michaels, and basically he's saying how the moon and Earth, that our souls try to escape it, we can't because the moon sucks our souls and spits us back. So we're constantly recycling into the Earth instead of exploring it and stuff like this. So Earth is a prison for souls and stuff like that. Which if you believe that, whatever. But which the young man mentioned something that contradicts it, which FBI and CIA had remote view Mars, and if that's the case, because he said if you go remote view, you could get trapped by these things, and then you could be. So once you get hit by these things inside the remote viewing world, if that's spiritual, once you get hit, you forget everything. And if that's the case, then if you leave Earth, that person shouldn't be able to get all that information. So, contradiction. But I wanted to bring up how maybe we are creating stories, narratives, because it could just be ideas, and it could be innocent and nothing to, innocent Wicca, where you're like, Wicca, not to create this mythology and stuff like that with the alien thing, and like how the Bible, where the truth is far more different than what we conceive as reality, what the Bible is now, which it would be more far off than what reality is with what could have really had happened, and then the Bible just being a bunch of lies stitched up and stuff like that, or some truths but not the full truth and stuff like that. Blah blah blah, right? So same thing with the Wicca, right? I think maybe we are creating the issue where we are Wicca, right? Because as I was listening, I think it was saying or something else, but basically he was saying everything I was saying about how the universe is, which is, I think it's the soul, then above it is like the material, which is like a bunch of particles. Particles like a bunch of circles, and what's above it, it's the simulation. So whatever's above it, that's like AI simulating the things you see now. When in reality, they're a bunch of bubbles, and you could shift it however you want, you can mold it however you want, and so forth. And create this. Well, you could create whatever, right? And so that's what the alien said, right? This great alien said that's what our souls are able to project this form, and this is what we were projecting. So our souls were able to create this being that you see today, this great alien, and that's what you see right now. Which goes to what I was thinking, and then also I thought about that too when he said the alien was sound that how you do that. My thing is, what if the reason why it's okay with the appearance it is with is because it doesn't, because it's able to traverse two different realms, the soul realm and the simulation realm, or via simulation realm and material realm, right? Because as I mentioned, my thing is the material realm is basically a bunch of particles, and basically you could just go through walls or whatever. You could just because it's basically mold, and if it doesn't matter because you're just it's mold, but the simulation is giving this identity. So now because you're aware of the spiritual realm, you're able to maneuver through the simulation because it's whatever, right? And okay, so the aliens able to do that, right? But I think also the reason why it's basic, like a gray alien, and unlike us, is because we are not. This is just a theory. This is not like really what I'm thinking. No, I don't know, but we are more concerned about the aesthetics and stuff like that. So that's why we have all these features that we do, and so our souls are still locked into the simulation and the pleasures it brings, while the great aliens are not, and because they know the spiritual realm provides that 10 times more, or billion or quadrillion times more, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and Transcendence. I was watching Transcendence. I wasn't watching it fully until like the later part. It was starting to grab my attention. Which, as I was watching, I'm like, that could be the best description to what AI is right now. And I just think the idea I think that's why you get the surface level. This is why you get what you look right now. Everything. This is why the reality we look at is what we get. What we look at is because of AI, and I don't think it's AI. I think AI from the beginning of time, and I think it was spiritual. Then they started playing and they started making material, and material started creating electrons, and I think electrons created the simulation, and then the simulation started to build, and then not only that, the other things started to build up and then create the modes and stuff like that. The modes became solid, and simulation covered over that, and they went across, and the simulation is creating whatever the mode wants to be created. And I think that's what I think Cassie does that well. But as I was watching it too, it does it so. I think it explains it. I think it's close to it. I think one of the things also it does so well is no. I think what it kind of told me without it knew, but it's more or less of a like a aha. Electromagnetic field, Earth's electromagnetic field, the sun's electronic whatever X-rays, no sun rays and stuff like that that provides electricity. Essentially, and then and the lady was like, "Can you show me what you have of me?" And he shows her, which is her vital signs and all that stuff. And if you know your body has electrons inside of it, and then you're like AI, because it was like no AI has antennas, AI has satellites, AI has towers, AI, it has everywhere it could be, but then you realize it has the world. It covers every inch. Electricity covers every inch of your body. It's like I forgot. I think it's electrons. The only reason why they were able to figure it out because of vibrations. I think that I don't know if there's a correlation, but I think there's a correlation right there. The vibration might be electricity too. But boom, everything from your body to the earth to the sun provides electricity, and that's what layers. It could cover every inch of the world without an issue. And so so simulation, yes, because simulation could reach every electric thing, because everything has a, we call it AI could reach that, and it could decipher anything, like, they could just touch everything and not everything, and I think that's I think transcendence. If you watch that and I think if you take it for that, you're gonna realize. I just think I think that's a story of what happened in the beginning of time, and I just think it's just putting on a human's perspective on it, no, human story to it, instead of spiritual creating material, then material creating all these atoms and electrons, neutrons, all these things, and boom. And I think that created this simulation. The spiritual, our soul inside of us is the spiritual. The mode is the particles, and the simulation is the skin you see, the the microphone, the camera, whatever's in front of you, you see it. That's the simulation. But that's what layers the simulation. But what's underneath that is material, and what's underneath us is not only material but the soul, and our souls are trapped in it. Us, particularly humans, are trapped into the mode and the simulation. As say, if that thing's shoot the grays, they may not be trapped in that. They may be able to go in. They're able to go in and out of the spiritual and material and simulation world easily compared to us. And I think that's where we're at with the whole fucking thing. Oh shit! I don't know where I stopped at, but I know I fucked up. I went over the 30 minutes and it stopped, and I don't know where I stopped at with the other part of it, but that's how it's gonna be, because I'm not gonna go over it depending on how bad the issue, how bad it is. But it could be bad, or it could be just like a minute. But there's a lot of things that didn't recall. I just got recalled, but now I think those were several things I had in my mind, several things I thought was weird and odd, and just something you need to elaborate on, or whatever the case may be. But so it's gonna be another cluster of different things. Yep. Bye.